Muntik mabagsakan ng malaking puno sa daan ng isang pamilya sa New York.
Buti na lamang at tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang paglalakad bago bumagsak ang puno. Ang iba pa mga detalye ng balita niyan, ibabahagi maya-maya. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Rikki Alagao Flores. Ito ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Huwebes.
Unemployment rate sa Pilipinas tumaas sa 4.3% nitong Enero.
Flight data recorder ng bumagsak na PAF fighter jet na recover na.
Pentagon nagpahayag ng kanilang kahandaan sa pakikidigma laban sa China.
15 sugatan sa misfiring ng South Korean Air Force sa isang civilian area.
At Athena lander ng Intuitive Machines nag-touchdown na rin sa buwan. Tumaas ang bilang ng mga walang trabaho sa Pilipinas nitong nagdaang buwan ng Enero.
Ayon sa Philippine Statistics Authority o PSA, pumalo ang unemployment rate ng bansa sa 4.3% mula sa 3.1% noong December. Katumbas ito ng estimated 2.16 million jobless Filipinos. Mas mataas ito kung ikukumpara sa naitalang 1.63 million noong December 2024. Ayon sa ahensya, may ambag sa pagdami ng bilang ang mga tambay sa bansa ang pagbaba ng demand para sa mga manggagawa nitong huling bahagi ng 2024.
Inaasahan ng Agriculture Department na bababa pa ang kasalukuyang presyo ng bigas at maging ang karneng baboy sa merkado dahil po yan sa epekto ng mga intervention na ginagawa ng ahensya. Sinabi ni Agriculture Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa, malaki ang naging ambag ng Rice for All program at paglalagay ng maximum suggested retail price sa mga imported na bigas. Anya, mula sa inisyatibo ng gobyerno, naging negative 4.9 ang rice inflation ng bansa sa nakalipas na 2 buwan. Nakikita rin ng kalihim na bababa rin ang halaga ng bawat kilo ng karneng baboy sa sandaling maipatupad ang maximum suggested retail price para dito sa March 10 ng taong kasalukuyan. Dagdag pa ni De Mesa, pababa na rin ang kaso ng African Swine Fever o ASF sa mga baboy dahil sa paggamit ng anti-ASF vaccine kung kaya unti-unti nang nakakabangon ang hog industry sa bansa.
Sa kabila ng pagtaas ng temperatura sa Pilipinas ay handog ngayon ng PhilHealth sa mga miyembro nito ang benefit package para sa heat-related illnesses. Inaasahan kasi ngayong papalapit na tag-init ay tataas na naman ang mga kaso ng heat-related diseases. Ayon sa pamunuan ng PhilHealth, nagkakahalaga ang nasabing benefit package ng 12,000 pesos. Covered ng package ang heat stroke at marami pang ibang heat-related diseases.
Well, we cover po for this like the heat stroke, heat syncope, heat emergency. So yun po mga nababanggit, heat exhaustion. Meron po tayong coverage for that kung mako-confine yung ating mga pasyente. Meron tayong bago for the emergency care outpatient benefit package na kung itong ating mga membro or pasyente is madadala sa ER, meron na rin po tayong coverage.
Nilinaw naman ang ahensya na hindi seasonal ang nasabing benefit package at matagal na itong inoffer ng ahensya. Samantala, dinagdagan din ng state insurer ang naturang benepisyo para mas mapakinabangan pa ng mga miyembro nito, isa na rito ang emergency treatment.
Kung meron po tayong mga nararamdaman na at meron na pong pagkakataon na tayo halimbawa ay nahihirapan na huminga or meron pagkakataon na may mga hinimatay na because of the sobrang init, pwede po tayong madala sa emergency room para po mabigyan ng emergency treatment. At kung hindi kinakailangan ma-ospital, tayo po ay makakakuha ng benepisyo para dyan. Kung tayo po ay registered member, wala na magiging problema kasi wala namang mga magiging requirements na nahihingi Pero kung hindi pa po tayo registered member, also during that time, makakakuha pa rin tayo ng benepisyo.
Para ibsan ang epekto ng maalinsangang panahon sa mga mag-aaral sa papalapit na tag-init, nagtakda po ang Department of Education ng pagbabago sa oras ng pasok sa mga paaralan. Ayon kay Education Secretary Sonny Angara, ang adjusted na pasok na morning session ay magsisimula ng alas 6 ng umaga hanggang alas 10 ng umaga, habang magsisimula naman ng alas 2 ng hapon hanggang alas 6 ng gabi ang afternoon sessions. Bukod pa ito sa karagdagang water and rest breaks ng mga mag-aaral, lalo na sa mga non-air-conditioned classrooms. Paliwanag naman ni Angara para mabawasan ang negatibong impact sa mga mag-aaral. Magpapalit na rin ng alternative delivery modalities ang mga eskwelahan sa panahon ng class suspensions, lalo na kung papalo ang heat index sa 42 degrees Celsius o mas higit pa batay sa direktiba ng local government units.
Tiniyak ng Malacanang sa publiko na gumagawa ito ng paraan upang masiguro na may sapat na supply ng tubig sa bansa bago ang dry season. Kabilang narito ang pagtatalaga ng mga opisyal na siyang magmomonitor sa water supply ng Pilipinas. Kaugnay nito, sinabi ni Presidential Communications Undersecretary at Palace Press Officer Claire Castro na sa ngayon ay nananatiling stable ang supply ng tubig sa bansa. Nilinaw rin niya na wala pang opisyal na deklarasyon ang alinmang ahensya ng gobyerno tungkol sa pagsisimula ng El Nino. Ngunit handa na niya ang administrasyon ni Marcos Jr. na tugunan ang mga posibleng epekto ng dry season sa bansa.
Na-recover na ng Philippine Air Force o PAF ang flight data recorder na bumagsak na FA-50 fighter jet sa Bukidnon. Ayon po kay PAF spokesperson Colonel Maria Consuelo Castillo, malaki ang may tutulong ng flight recording sa kanilang investigasyon sa insidente. Iniimbestigahan na rin anya ng air investigators ang crash site sa Mount Kalatungan at ang mga naiwang bahagi ng eroplano roon.
It will be brought to the experts and what we're going to find there, the usual, the data, flight data, all the flight data, the altitude, their airspeed, all the other things. We're going to look at all angles. Yes, you've mentioned material factor, mechanical factors, about human factor is about not only about the skills and proficiency, although as I've said, we can assure you that our pilots are very proficient and skilled, but there are also other things that we have to consider. We're going to look at their medical records, their mental state records, and aside from that, environmental is also a factor. What's the wind condition at that time, precipitation, all that will be factored in.
Samantala, nakuha na rin ng Air Force ang mga labi ng 2 piloto ng bumagsak na fighter jet. Binitbit na mga sundalo ang katawan ni na Major Jude Asalang-Oy at First Lieutenant April John Dadulia patungo sa bayan ng Pangantukan, Bukidnon.
Yes, by foot po siya dinala ng ating tropa sa 1st Special Force Battalion. Going to pick up also.
Bakit sir? Ano mas...
From there, the cadavers were transported through a military vehicle going to Cagayan de Oro City sa Lumbia po, Barangay Lumbia, Cagayan de Oro City.
Sasailalim muna sa forensic procedure ang mga labi ng sundalo sa Cagayan de Oro upang makasiguro na bangkay nga ito ng 2 piloto na kasama sa misyon. Nagpaabot na rin ng pakikiramay ang Armed Forces of the Philippines sa pamilya ng mga namatay na sundalo.
This is a different kind of accident. This is a different kind of accident. Just imagine it's an aircraft accident involving a high-speed aircraft that went down into a mountain. So we could just imagine probably the state of the bodies. We would not want to delve into the details, but we have to make sure that the remains that we got, whatever remains that we got from the pilots, are from the pilots that are really identified in that mission.
Naghain ng manifestation ad cautelam ang Senado sa Korte Suprema upang hilingin na i-excuse ito sa pagsusumite ng komento sa petisyon ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Matatandaan na noong nakaraang buwan ay nagpasa ng petisyon ang legal team ni VP Sara upang kwestiyonin ang bisa at konstitusyonalidad ng impeachment complaint laban sa kanya. Ngunit sa 3 pahinang manifestation ng Senado, sinabi nito na walang aktwal na alegasyon ang petisyon laban sa mataas na kapulungan. Sinabi rin ng Senado na dahil ang papel nito sa konstitusyon ay ang pagkakaroon ng sole power to try and decide impeachment cases, hindi nila ito posibleng makapagbigay ng komento sa petisyon ni VP Sara. Hiniling din ng Senado na tanggapin ng Korte Suprema ang manifestation nito sa halip na magsumite ng komento sa petisyon bilang pagsunod sa utos ng Korte. Susunod, China handa sa giyera kontra Estados Unidos.
South Korea at Estados Unidos nagsimula ng Freedom Shield Military.
At Trump team may secret meeting sa mga karibal ni Ukrainian President Zelensky. Yan at iba pang mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Thinking as a network, acting as one. A show about visionaries and their projects. Challenges that can be tackled together for a future worth living. Working for a more united world. Global Us.
Binalaan ng China ang US na handa nila itong harapin sa anumang uri ng digmaan. Inilabas ng Embahada ng China sa Estados Unidos na lahat ng uri ng giyera, maging tariff war, trade war, ay lalabanan nila ito hanggang sa dulo. Kasabay din ito ay inanunsyo niya na kanilang tataasan ang defense spending ng hanggang 7.2%. Nais nilang ipakita na kahit mayroong banta ng trade war sa Estados Unidos ay hindi pa rin naaapektuhan ang kanilang ekonomiya. Tuloy-tuloy rin ang paghihikayat nila ng mga foreign investors sa kanilang bansa kaya hindi sila nababahala sa trade war ng Estados Unidos. Magugunit ang pinatawa ng US ng 20% na taripa ang mga produktong magmumula sa China na ibinebenta sa Estados Unidos habang sa Canada at Mexico naman ay mayroong 25% na pataw na taripa. Sa ilang okasyon na rin ay umalma ang China sa pagpapataw ng Estados Unidos ng taripa kung saan ay inudyok nito ang US na huwag gamitin ang pagpasok ng fentanyl bilang dahilan sa kanilang pagsisimula ng trade war.
美方执意以芬太尼问题为借口，再次对中国输美的产品加征关税。中方多次阐明了反对立场，采取了正当必要的反制措施。美方如果真想解决芬太尼问题，就应该在平等、尊重、互惠的基础上，同中方磋商解决各自关切。
Sinabi ni Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth na handa ang Estados Unidos na makidigma sa China. Kasunod ito ng komento ng Chinese Embassy sa US sa X, dating Twitter, na nagsasabing kung digmaan ang gusto ng Estados Unidos, maging ito man ay isang tariff war o anumang uri pa ng digmaan, handa ang China na lumaban hanggang sa huli. Depensa pa ng Pentagon Chief. Kaya nga raw isinasaayos muli ng US ang military nito ay dahil nais ng Estados Unidos na pigilan ang digmaan sa mga Chinese o kung sino man. Nauunawaan rin anya ng Pangulo na ang kapayapaan ay dumarating sa pamamagitan ng pagpapakita ng lakas. Binigyan din ni Hegseth na bilang US Secretary of Defense ay trabaho nitong siguraduhing handa ang Estados Unidos sa digmaan. Kailangan anyang gastusan ang depensa at mga armas sa Indo-Pacific at ito anya ay isang bagay na lubos niyang pinagtutuunan ng pansin.
Ayon sa Joint Chiefs of Staff ng Seoul, magsisimula ng taunang Freedom Shield military exercise sa pagitan ng Estados Unidos at South Korea sa susunod na linggo.
한미는 연합방위태세 확립을 위해 3월 10일부터 20일까지 FS 연습 자유의 방패를 시행하기로 하였습니다.
By reflecting realistic threats, lessons learned from recent armed conflicts, and evolving challenges such as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea's military strategy, tactics, capabilities, as well as its growing partnership with Russia, the ROK-US alliance will further strengthen its readiness, capabilities, and combined defense posture.
Ang joint drills na tatagal hanggang 20 ng Marso ay naglalayong palakasin ang kahandaan ng alyansa ng Estados Unidos sa banta ng North Korean military. Makakatuwang ng South Korea at Estados Unidos ang United Nations Command member states katulad ng Australia, Belgium, Canada, Colombia, France, Great Britain, Greece, Italy, New Zealand, Thailand at ang Pilipinas, kung saan oobserbahan naman ito ng iba pang neutral nations.
Binantaan muli ni Donald Trump ang militanteng grupo ng Hamas at mga residente ng Gaza ukol sa pagpapakawala nito ng kanilang mga bihag na Israeli citizens. Sa isang social media post ay sinabi muli ni Pangulong Trump na pagbabayarin niya ang terrorist group kung hindi ito palalayain ang mga bihag sa lalong madaling panahon. Hindi naman ito nakapagpigil at idinamay pa nito ang mga mamamayan ng Gaza kung saan sinabi niyang papatayin daw niya ito kung malaman niyang tinutulungan nila ang mga rebelde ng Hamas na itago ang mga bihag. Inilabas niya ito ilang oras makalipas kinumpirma ng White House na direkta silang nakipag-usap sa mga opisyal ng naturang grupo. Isang paglabaga ng matagal ng prinsipyo ng Estados Unidos na hindi ito makikipag-usap o makikipagnegosasyon sa mga terorista. Matagal nang pinupuntirya ni Trump ang Gaza simula pa lamang ng kanyang termino kung saan ipinangako niya sa Israel na tatapusin niya ang kaguluhan sa Middle East. Sa iilang okasyon na rin, sinabi ni Trump na nais itong sakupin ang Gaza upang gawin itong Riviera of the Middle East.
Noong Miyerkules, sinabi ng Ukraine na may positibong development kaugnay ng kooperasyon sa pagitan ng Washington at Kiev. Ito ay matapos halos magsigawan sina Trump at Zelensky sa isang Oval Office conference na nagresulta sa kabiguang malagdaan ang rare earth mineral deal. Si Ana Cui para sa report.
Dahil may positibong galaw ukol sa kasunduan ng Estados Unidos sa Ukraine, sinabi ni Pangulong Volodymyr Zelensky na dahil dito, maaaring magkaroon ng isa pang pagpupulong ang magkabilang panig.
Всі бачать, наскільки швидко розвиваються дипломатичні події. Сьогодні наші команди України та Сполучених Штатів Америки почали працювати над зустріччю. Говорили Андрій Єрмак та Майк Вольц. Є позитивний рух. Сподіваємось на перші результати наступного тижня.
Tila handa ang Kiev na ayusin ang ugnayan nito sa Washington. Ayon sa Chief of Staff ni Zelensky na si Andriy Yermak sa kanyang post sa X, nagpalitan anya sila ng pananaw ni U.S. Security Advisor Michael Waltz ukol sa mga isyong pansiguridad at ang pagpapantay ng posisyon. Ayon pa sa post, nagtakda na ang dalawa ng pagpupulong ng Ukrainian at US officials sa nalalapit na panahon upang ipagpatuloy ang mahalagang trabahong ito. Ang mga pahayag na ito ay kapwa lumabas ilang oras matapos inanunsyo ni CIA Director John Ratcliffe na inihinto ng US ang intelligence sharing nito sa Ukraine. Ana Cui para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Ayon sa mga pahayagan, nagsagawa ng secret meeting ang 4 na miyembro ng Trump team kasama ang opposition party ng Ukraine. Ang naturang pag-uusap ay isinagawa sa kagustuhan nilang mapatalsik si Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky matapos na ihanay ng Estados Unidos ang kanilang layunin sa Moscow. Nakipagpulong ang mga senior Trump allies kina Ukrainian opposition leader Yulia Tymoshenko at iba pa miyembro ng partido ni Petro Poroshenko. Umikot ang diskusyon sa posibilidad na magsagawa ang Ukraine ng snap elections sa kabila ng martial law. Pangunahing pinoproblema ng mga tao ngayon ay ang failure of elections dahil sa mga taong nakikipagdigmaan sa front lines ng gyera ng Russia at mga iba na mga naninirahan sa ibang bansa bilang refugees.
Pansamantalang itinigil ng US ang intelligence sharing sa Ukraine.
Did the U.S. pause intelligence sharing with Ukraine, and is it still paused right now?
We have taken a step back and are pausing and reviewing all aspects of this relationship. But I just got off the phone before I walked out here with my counterpart, the Ukrainian National Security Advisor. We are having good talks on a location for the next round of negotiations, on delegations, on substance. So just in the last 24 hours since the public statement from Zelensky and then these subsequent conversations, which I'm going to walk inside and continue, I think we're going to see movement in very short order.
Kinumpirma ito ni National Security Advisor Mike Waltz kung saan kanila raw munang pag-aaralan ang lahat ng aspeto ng relasyon ng dalawang bansa. Agad naman itong ibinahagi ang nasabing desisyon sa National Security Advisor din ng Ukraine. Sinabi naman ni US Central Intelligence Agency o CIA Director John Ratcliffe na maitutuloy lamang ang intelligence sharing kung tumugon na ang Ukraine sa hiling ng Estados Unidos. Ayon sa mga eksperto, inaharangan ng Estados Unidos ang lahat ng tulong na ibinibigay nito sa Ukraine upang mapilitan ang nasabing bansa na mapagbigyan ang kagustuhan ni US President Donald Trump. Giit naman ng Ukraine, isa sa pinakaimportanteng parte ng rare earth mineral deal ay ang security guarantee ng Estados Unidos na nais nilang makuha kapalit ng pagpirma ng trade deal nito sa US. Ang security guarantee ay ang parte ng isang kasunduan na nagsisigurong hindi muling susubukan ng Russiang sakupin ang ibang teritoryo ng Ukraine matapos ang pagpirma nito.
Сьогодні ж на ставці були деякі спеціальні питання нашої державної стійкості. Всі можливі сценарії ми пропрацьовуємо. Пропрацьовуємо так, щоб захистити Україну. Базовий сценарій – зберігати позиції та забезпечити умови для правильної дипломатії, для якнайшвидшого завершення цієї війни. Достойним миром. Мир нам потрібен, саме мир справжній, чесний, а не війна, нескінченна. І гарантії безпеки потрібні. Відсутність гарантій безпеки для України 11 років тому дозволили Росії почати з окупації Криму та війни на Донбасі. Потім відсутність гарантій безпеки дозволила Росії розпочати повномасштабне вторгнення. І зараз через відсутність визначених гарантій безпеки саме Росія тримає цю війну в розпалі. І це бачить весь світ, і це визнає весь світ.
Kinukonsidera ng humanap ng ibang kasosyo sa kalakalan ng bansang Mexico matapos ipatupad ang dagdag taripa ni President Donald Trump sa mga produktong ipinapasok sa US. Narito pong report ni Terilyn Cunanan.
Sinabi ni Pangulong Gloria Sheinbaum na maaaring magbago ang kaalyansa sa kalakalan ng Mexico kung kinakailangan. Ito ay sa posibilidad na tuloy-tuloy ang dagdag taripa ng US sa Mexico.
Va a buscar, si es necesario, otros socios comerciales. Todo para proteger a México y a los mexicanos, en el marco de nuestra soberanía y de la dignidad.
Opisyal na nagsimula ang 25% taripa ni Pangulong Donald Trump sa imports mula Mexico at Canada. Kasabay nito ang panibagong multa rin sa mga produkto naman ng China. Pinangangambahang magugulo nito hindi lamang ang supply chains kundi pati ang matagal na alyansa ng kalakalan sa Hilagang Amerika. Nakatakdang makipag-usap sa telepono si Sheinbaum kay Trump ugo sa mga taripa.
Es un momento muy definitivo para México. Dependiendo de lo que pase, pues estos días, hasta el domingo. No va a haber sumisión. México es un gran país y las mexicanas y los mexicanos somos valientes, resistentes, y el pueblo de México tiene mucha fuerza y nuestra economía está bien.
Bahagyang lumalakas ang Mexican peso ng 0.84% noong Miyerkules sa 20.41 per US dollar. Sa isang alipa ni Sheinbaum para sa nasyonalismo, nanawagan ito para sa isang rally sa Linggo sa makasaysayang Zocalo Square kung saan ididetalye niya ang tugon sa US na anya ay kinabibilangan ng ganting taripa. Terilyn Cunanan para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nalilito ang mga mamamayan ng Mexico dahil sa dagdag taripa ng Estados Unidos na opisyal na nagsimula noong Martes. Kasama nilang naguguluhan ang mga Amerikanong naninirahan doon din sa Mexico. Alamin natin kung ano-ano ang kanilang mga dahilan mula kay JC Yumul.
Ayon sa mga nasa Mexico, sadyang naguguluhan sila sa trade war ni US President Donald Trump. Marami sa kanila ang umaasang panandalian lamang ang dagdag taripa. Ayon sa mga residente, nalilito sila kapwa sa dahilan ng US sa pagpataw ng taripa na kabilang ang pagpasok ng fentanyl sa Amerika at sa tugon ng Mexico dito. Ayon kay Larry Rubin, presidente ng American Society of Mexico, nag-aalala sila sa sitwasyon. Nagbababala ito ukol sa epekto ng taripa sa mga mamimili sa buong rehiyon.
Representing so many U.S. corporations here in Mexico, we are definitely very worried about the tariffs, and tariffs are bad for the consumer at the end of the day. We also understand that tariffs don't make sense in the regional buildup that we've been doing for the last over 30 years. So at the end of the day, we know it is something to make sure that fentanyl is fought in the U.S. as well. And we hope that these measures are temporary. We hope that the Mexican government makes sure to work with President Donald Trump in resolving what he sees as opportunities to fight the organized crime, which has been a cancer in Mexico for decades and has also now been a cancer to the U.S.
Ayon kay Cesar Maciel na isang entrepreneur, hindi makatarungan ang dagdag taripa.
Pienso que está mal fundamentado esto de los aranceles del 25% porque hasta donde entiendo yo el pretexto es que les enviamos fentanilo, ¿no? Entonces, pues ellos tampoco atacan ahora sí que a nosotros que lo mandamos, pero no atacan de fondo a ellos que lo consumen y que lavan el dinero por cantidades industriales del fentanilo, porque aquí vemos que pues les mandamos narcotraficantes para que los juzguen allá, testigos protegidos, bla, 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 pero los importantes, seguramente hay algún narcotraficante, algún gran poder que está detrás de todo esto en Estados Unidos y que no necesariamente tiene que ser latino o tener sus orígenes en México o en Latinoamérica.
Ayon naman kay Manuel Velasquez na may negosyong money exchange, hindi niya maunawaan kung bakit kailangang tapatan ng ganting taripa ang dagdag taripa ng US. Aniya, ang mga mamimili rin ang magbabayad nito.
Si es absurdo que Donald Trump nos ponga aranceles, ¿por qué lo queremos devolver de la misma manera? Al grado de que de antemano sabemos que el consumidor es el que va a pagar el impuesto, sea el 25 o el 30.
Para kay Rodrigo Diaz na isang empleyado, ang balikan ng taripa ay may tunay na dahilan na hindi pa lumilitaw hanggang ngayon.
No, ya han sido varias veces entre que estamos que sí se aplican los aranceles, no se aplican los aranceles. La última vez se había dicho que bueno, se iba a ir hasta abril y apenas el fin de semana fue que no, ¿saben qué? Siempre para el 4 de marzo vamos a aplicarlo. Entonces como que este titubeo siento que pues más bien trae algún otro trasfondo que aún no ha salido a la luz.
Nagsimula ang 25% na taripa ni Pangulong Donald Trump noong Martes. Kasabay nito ang 20% naman sa mga produkto ng China. Isang pasimula ng gerang pangkalakal na sinasabing haharang sa pagsulong ng ekonomiya at magpapataas sa presyo ng bilihin para sa mga mamamayan. JC Yumul para sa mata ng Agila International, Trusted, Connected, On Point.
Sabay na nagprotesta ang mga residente ng New York at Washington, D.C. ilang oras bago humarap si U.S. President Donald Trump sa Kongreso sa unang pagkakataon mula nang maging Pangulong muli. Narito ang report ni Jeff Sanidad.
Makalipas ang 6 na linggong pamumuno ni President Donald Trump, humarap ito sa Kongreso ng bansa upang manalumpati. Subalit ilang oras bago maganap ito, nagkaroon ng magkakasabay na protesta sa New York City at sa Washington, D.C. laban sa administrasyon nito. Katanghalian nitong Martes, ilang daang demonstrador ang nagprotesta sa harap ng Fox headquarters sa Midtown Manhattan. Hawak nila ang mga placard na nagsasabing Fox viewers, naloko kayo, patalsikin mga oligarkiya. Ayon sa mga demonstrador, simula pa lamang ito ng kilusan.
I think the energy is great. You know, there's nothing that feels better than getting out and standing up for what you believe in. I think, you know, these are the early days of the protest movement, and I would expect to see even more of this, you know, once the damage that the Trump administration is doing to the country becomes more apparent and he starts wrecking the lives of his followers.
Pahayag ni Tim Stapleton na isang healthcare sector design researcher sa New York, bawat desisyon ng administrasyon ay para lamang sa ikabubuti ng mga bilyonaryo.
Trump and, you know, I'll say his cronies and Elon Musk and everyone that is part of his administration, flooding the zone, I'm sure is a phrase that you've heard before, and it's clearly apparent, and it's just so clear to me and so many people that the interests are not aligned with the American people, and that every decision that is being made is only benefiting the billionaires and Trump and, you know, Putin as well, in my personal opinion.
Dagdag ni Stapleton, kulang ang reaksyon mula sa Democratic Party. Gayon din ang aksyon mula sa mga kilusan ng mamamayan.
I think that a lot of people my age and even younger feel overwhelmed, to be honest. There's lots of anxiety, there's lots of just feeling of helplessness. Getting out in person is, I think, tough because there takes an awareness of these kinds of events going on and a centralized sort of body of organizing these kinds of things. I personally think that we need to see a little bit more of a response from the Democratic Party as well as just general people-based resistance movements.
Samantala sa Washington, nagsimula ang protesta mula sa hagdan ng Lincoln Memorial at tumuloy sa kahabaan ng National Mall. Jeff Sanidad para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, Connected, On Point.
Binigyan po ng parangal ni U.S. President Donald Trump si DJ Daniel, isang batang nakikipaglaban sa sakit na brain cancer. Itinalaga niya ito bilang honorary member ng U.S. Secret Service.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Pinuri ng Kongreso ang desisyon ni Trump at tumanggap din ng standing ovation ang batang si Daniel dahil matapang nitong hinaharap ang kanyang sakit na cancer. Para kay Trump, ipinakita lamang ni Daniel ang kahalagahan ng katapangan sa harap ng kanilang bansa.
Nauwi sa dahas ang isinagawang protesta ng mga tao sa Greece matapos silang paulanan ng tear gas ng mga otoridad. Ang kilos protesta ay ginawa para sa ikalawang anibersaryo ng pinakamalaking train crash sa kasaysayan ng bansa na ikinamatay ng 57 katao. Ikinagalit naman ang karamihan ng naging pagtugon ng gobyerno sa naturang insidente. Ayon sa mga tao ay may tinatagong impormasyon ng mga otoridad upang protektahan ang ibang korporasyon upang hindi sila maparusahan. Sa ngayon, 2 taon nang nakalipas ay nakabinbin pa rin ang kaso at investigasyon sa korte ng Athens. Sa araw ng mismong protesta ay nagdagsaan ng nasa 100,000 katao papunta sa Syntagma Square sa Athens kung saan sinubukan nilang magmarcha patungo sa kanilang Parliament Building. Sinalubong naman sila ng mga kapulisan na nagbato naman ng tear gas canisters at ginamitan ng water cannons upang pigilan ang mga tao na lumusob sa Parliament Building. Bilang tugon ay binato naman ng mga rallyista ng petrol bombs ang mga otoridad na nagresulta sa madugong engkwentro. Sa ngayon ay wala pang nilalabas na komento ang pamahalaan ng Greece ukol sa insidente.
Susunod, pamilya sa New York nakaiwas sa pagbagsak ng malaking puno sa daan.
Chinese serial rapist huli sa United Kingdom.
And Democratic Republic of Congo nababahala sa isang mystery disease. Mga detalye po ng mga balitang yan at iba pa mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Mailalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa new era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Is quite as simple as it seems. To understand the world better, we need to take a closer look. Experience knowledge. Tomorrow today.
Nagbabalik ang Mata ng Agila International at sa pagpapatuloy po ng ating mga balita ngayong gabi. Puspusan na ang paghahanda ng mga residente sa Brisbane, Australia habang papalapit ang Cyclone Alfred sa kanilang bansa. Ayon sa Bureau of Meteorology ng Australia, inaasahang magla-landfall sa Queensland ang bagyo bukas o kaya naman ay sa araw ng Sabado. Anila, ito na ang unang bagyo na tatama sa rehiyon sa loob ng ilang dekada. Inaasahan na ng ahensya na tatama at aabot sa 95 miles per hour ang hanging dala ng Cyclone Alfred. Pinalilikas na rin ng mga otoridad ang mga residente malapit sa mga baybayin dahil inaasahang maaapektuhan ang nasa 2.7 milyon na kataong naninirahan sa Brisbane. Mahigit 700 na mga paaralan at mga paliparan sa Queensland ang sinuspinde na rin dahil sa inaasahang landfall ng bagyo sa syudad.
Hindi bababa sa 15 katao ang nasaktan mula sa pagpapakawala ng 8 MK-82 bombs ng South Korean Air Force sa isang civilian area. Maraming debris at mga pira-piraso ng salamin ang nagkalat sa Pocheon, ang syudad ng direktang tinamaan ng bomba. 2 foreign nationals ang napag-alamang nadamay sa shelling at kasalukuyang nagpapagamot sa ospital. Na-deploy na rin ang mga otoridad ng emergency responders para suriin ang lugar at sumaklolo sa mga residenteng maaaring tinamaan ng bomba. Iniimbestigahan na ng Air Force ang insidente at humingi ng paumanhin sa naging pinsala nito sa mga sibilyan. Kinumpirma naman ng Defense Ministry ng South Korea na umaarangkada ngayong Huwebes ang unang joint live-fire drills nito kasama ang Estados Unidos.
Muntik nang mabagsakan ang malaking puno sa daan ng isang pamilya sa New York. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, naglalakad ang mag-anak sa isang kalsada sa Brooklyn. Buti na lamang, tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang pagkilos dahil kapag tumigil pa sila, ay nako, sigurado mababagsakan ang mga ito ng puno. Lubos-lubos naman ang naging pasasalamat ng pamilya dahil wala sa kanila ang nasaktan sa insidente.
Isang Chinese student ang hinatulang guilty dahil sa paggamit ng droga sa pangahalay sa 10 babae sa England at China. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, kinilala ang defendant bilang si Zhen Haozhao, 28 taong gulang. Hinatulan ng 11 counts of rape sa pagitan ng 2019 at 2023. Matapos ang ilang oras na deliberasyon, kinumpirma ng mga hurado na ginahasa ni Zhao ang 3 babae sa London at 7 babae naman sa China. 2 pa lamang ang nakilalang biktima ng tinatawag nilang London's worst sex offender, ngunit nagpapatuloy pa rin ang investigasyon ng mga otoridad upang mabigyan ng hustisya ang mga kababaihan. Higit pa rito, inihinalang mayroon pang humigit 50 pang biktima si Zhao. Kinumpirma naman ng mga pulis na gumamit ng hidden o handheld cameras ang suspect para i-record ang kanyang mga biktima. Anila, iniipon ni Zhao ang mga nakalap nitong video ng kanyang mga biktima para gawing souvenir o trophy ng kanyang mga krimen. Dahil rito, hinatulan din si Zhao ng 3 counts of voyeurism, 10 counts of possession of o pornographic image, 1 false imprisonment charge at 3 counts ng possession of a controlled drug with intent to commit a sexual offense.
Nasa 113 na ang namatay at 1,380 naman na katao ang may sintomas ng hindi pa natutukoy na sakit sa Democratic Republic of Congo. Noong Pebrero 27, iniulat ng WHO na umabot na sa 6 na po ang namatay at 1,096 ang may sakit. Subalit, hindi ipinaliwanag ang pagkakaiba sa naunang datos. Makalipas ang 1 linggo, mayroong 53 pang katao ang nasawi at naitalang 1,318 na ang mga kabuuang bilang ng mga nahawa. Mabilis lumalala ang sakit at may mga namamatay sa loob ng 1 araw matapos lumitaw ang sintomas. Sa ngayon ay nakikipag-ugnayan na ang Center for Disease Control and Prevention sa lokal na otoridad ng DRC upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng mystery illness. Hindi pa alam ang sanhi ng sakit, subalit iniimbestigahan ang bacterial meningitis at chemical poisoning. Ayon po sa World Health Organization, negatibo naman ito sa Ebola at Marburg virus. Sa loob ng ilang buwan, ito na ang ikatlong beses na may naitarang pagdami ng kaso at pagkamatay sa Congo. Noong December 2024, may naiulat ding misteryosong sakit na kalaunan ay konektado sa malaria at respiratory infections. Dahil dito, nagsasagawa na ng investigasyon at nag-abot ng agarang tulong ang WHO. Kabilang po sa mga sintomas ng sakit na ito ang lagnat, matinding sakit ng ulo, panlalamig, pagpapawis, paninigas ng leeg, pananakit ng katawan, sipon o pagdurugo ng ilong, ubo, pagsusuka at pagtatae. Patuloy ang pagsusuri ng mga virologist at pagtingin sa posibleng kontaminasyon sa pagkain at tubig habang mahigpit itong minomonitor ng mga lokal na otoridad upang mapalakas ang investigasyon at pagtugon nila sa mga disease outbreaks.
Isang Hong Kong-based company ang pumayag na ibenta ang dalawang terminals nito sa Panama Canal ports sa Estados Unidos o US investment firm na BlackRock. Nagkakahalaga ng $22.8 billion ang nasabing deal ng BlackRock at CK Hutchison. Sakaling matupad ang negosasyon, mapapasakamay din ng BlackRock ang 43 ports ng CK Hutchison na nakakalat sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo.
Ayon sa mga media sources sa Estados Unidos, gumagamit umano ng Artificial Intelligence or AI ang Department of Government Efficiency o DOGE ni Elon Musk para tumulong sa kanilang cost-cutting decisions. Ito ay sa gitna ng pagsibak sa trabaho ni US President Donald Trump sa mga empleyado ng DOGE para matugunan ang $1 trillion cut para sa federal budget deficit ng Washington. Dahil dito, maraming mga tactic AI experts ang nababahala sa ginagawang hakbang ni Musk. Anila maaaring pagsimulan ito ng security breach at paglabag na rin sa civil rights ng mga Amerikano. Nitong Pebrero, napaulat na ongoing ang development ng custom AI chatbot ni Matt o ni Musk para sa US General Services Administration na kung tawagin ay GSAI. Anila gagamitin ito para mag-analyze ng malaking bulto ng mga contract at procurement data ng gobyerno. Samantala, tinawag naman ng ilang kritiko sa issue ang ginagawang kilos ng DOGE bilang cut first, fix later na siyang estilo ring ginamit ni Musk sa kanyang pag-acquire sa Twitter 2 taon na ang nakalilipas. Hindi naman nagbigay ng komento ang kampo ni Trump, ang DOGE at maging ang US Office of Personal Management hinggil sa issue.
Matapos ang matagumpay na touchdown ng Firefly moon lander sa buwan, ay sumunod namang lumapag doon ang pambato ng space firm na Intuitive Machines, ang Athena lander. 8 araw makalipas ang launching nito mula sa Earth, ay naging smooth ang paglalakbay ng Athena patungo sa buwan. Ayon sa National Aeronautics and Space Administration na NASA, nag-touchdown ang Athena lander malapit sa lunar South Pole ng buwan. Layo ng Athena lander na magmasid ng halos 10 araw sa paligid nito at kumuha ng datos mula sa mga crater. Taong 2024 nang dumating sa buwan ang Odysseus lander, ang unang lander ng Intuitive Machine, pero nagkaroon ng aberya sa landing nito. Tumagilid kasi ito at hindi na nagawa ang inaasahang misyon nito na mag-obserba sa buwan. Umaasa naman ang Intuitive Machines na wala sanang maging problema sa misyon ng Athena lander.
Inanunsyo ni Filipino pole vaulter EJ Obiera na hindi ito makakasali sa 2025 World Athletics Indoor Championships. Pagtitiyak naman ito sa kanyang mga supporters at fans na wala itong iniindang injury at sa halip ay nakatuon ang kanyang atensyon sa mga outdoor season. Nakatakda kasi itong maging representative ng bansa sa mga high-profile competitions. Dagdag pa nito na gumaling na ang kanyang back injury at nagiging maganda na ang kanyang isinasagawang training. Aminado itong nadismaya siya sa hindi matagumpay na mga torneo na kanyang sinalihan noong Pebrero kung saan sinabi niya na kahit maraming oras para mag-qualify sa mga World Indoor Championships ay wala ng kompetisyon na itong nasalihan. Ilan po sa mga outdoor competitions sa kanyang pinaghahandaan ngayon ay ang World Championships, Asian Championships at Southeast Asian Games. Ang 29-year-old na ranked number 4 ay nakatakdang sumabak sa Mundo Classics sa Sweden sa darating na March 13.
Kinumpirma na ni FIFA President Gianni Infantino na magkakaroon na ng halftime show ang 2026 Men's World Cup. Ito ang unang pagkakataon na mayroong halftime show kung saan ang magiging host ng World Cup ay ang Estados Unidos. Ang Canada, US at Mexico magiging host naman ng World Cup sa susunod na taon at ang finals ay lalaruin sa MetLife Stadium sa New Jersey sa darating na July 19, 2026. Itinuturing ni Infantino na makasaysayan ang nasabing halftime show. Kinakausap nila ang sikat na bandang Coldplay na tutulong sa pagsasagawa ng halftime show.
Nakatakda namang kasuhan ng rapper na si Jay-Z ang babaeng nag-akusang gumahasa sa kanya, subalit iniatras din ito ang asunto. Nitong Pebrero, iniurong ng biktima ang kaso at na-pressure lamang umano ito para makahingi ng pera. Noong Oktubre ng nakaraang taon, nang inihain na hindi pa pinangalan ng biktima laban kay Sean Carter o si Jay-Z at kay Sean Diddy Combs sa gumahasa sa kanya noong ito ay 13 anyos pa lamang. Mariing itinanggi ng dalawang nasabing akusasyon. Isinampa naman ni Jay-Z ang kasong defamation sa Federal Court of Alabama.
Susunod, Pokemon-shaped Cheeto na ibenta ng malaking halaga.
Nigerian mom, pinagkakitaan ang paggansilyo.
At abangan ang iba pang mga storya pagdating ni Alma Angeles at ng Mata ng Agila World News. Mga detalye pa rin ang mga balitang yan sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
This Sunday on Cine Throwback.
We got a low pressure read on the pipeline. We are a 4-man saturation dive team.
You know there's a storm in the way.
We came here to do a job.
Get sorted out.
Get on the radio! Belt to surface! Belt to surface! Dropping at speed! All stop on the belt! Brace yourselves, please!
Are you okay? Mitch, talk to me! We're losing oxygen. Talk to me! I know you're scared, but you can do it! You can do it! Come on!
This Sunday, 12 noon, here on Net 25.
Let's get together, Sunday 25.
Isang Pokemon-shaped Cheeto ang naibenta sa Golden Auction House sa halagang $87,840. Ang Mabibihirang piraso ng junk food na ito ay isinelyo sa isang clear card storage box at pinangalanan na Cheeto Zard. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, nasa pagitan ng taong 2018 at 2022 nang natagpuan at prineserba ang 3-inch Cheeto bilang limited collector's item. Ang Cheeto Zard ay isang reference sa Charizard, isang fictional character sa palabas na Pokemon.
Isang ina sa Nigeria ang lubos na nagsisika para matugunan ang mga pangangailangan ng kanyang pamilya. Kaya para may mapagkunan po siya ng panggastos, ginawa niyang puhunan ang kanyang simpleng childhood hobby na paggawa ng crochet sa pagnenegosyo. Si Ifunanya Nwakudo ay nagsimulang matuto ng crocheting nang siya ay nag-aaral pa lamang ng elementary. Subalit pagdating ng taong 2021, kanya nang nalaman ang potential ng crochet sa shoe industry. Kayang gumawa ni Nwakudo ng higit sa 100 pares ng sapatos para sa kanyang mga kliyente. Ayon sa kanya, masusing pinipili niya ang gagamitin mga materyales sa paggawa ng sapatos para maging fashionable and long-lasting ito. Anya, isinasalang-alang niya ang satisfaction ng kanyang mga customer para mumuli ulit sa kanya. Mula rito ay umaasa si Nwakudo na sa susunod na dekada ay lalago pa ang kanyang negosyo.
Ang ganda. May naalala ako dyan, Rikki. Hindi ko alam kung nagsuot ka nung mga panahong yan ng espadrilles. Naalala mo yun? Yung ganchilyadong ganchilyadong, mga parang ganun yung ginagawa niya. Ang ganda rin naman talaga.
Sana bumalik ulit, ano?
Feeling ko iikot at iikot. Kasi ngayon, meron ng mga knitwear na footwear. Pero ang pinagkakaiba, bumabanat yung material. Which is good kasi kailangan sa mga naglalakad.
Tsaka ngayon, pa-summer na nga, di ba?
Ayan
So,
nga.
yan, maganda yan.
Siyempre, comfort is important.
Magandang suit yan sa mga beach din, di ba?
Yun, di ba?
Ayan, pero alam ba yung balita mo naman kanina? Naku, favorite ko yung chichirang yun.
Ako din. Pero doon ako sa flaming hot.
Ako naman sa jalapeno lang ako.
Ay, I love that too.
Ayan, sa jalapeno lang. Pero doon, anghang na ako. Pero good idea pala yun, Nins. Bago natin kainin yung chips, tignan natin baka nga may shape siyang kakaiba.
Magtabi ka ng di ba?
Di ba, paano kung may shape siyang
Pero
kakaiba?
naman, ipe-preserve mo na ganun katagal. Paano nagagawa para sa isang pagkain?
Hindi ko kaya i-preserve.
Parang
Pagbukas ng
mauusi
chips,
talaga
ubos
ako,
agad.
Rikki.
Simot sarap.
Hindi lang yun. Parang mauusi ako dun sa idea na i-preserve mo siya ng ganun lang. Parang nauusi ako. Parang feeling ko may bacteria build-up o kaya molds, ganun. Amo na kanila na. Kaya naman nga wala tayong ganun. Simot sarap kasi
Simot-sarap tayo. Lalo na kapag, pero ay di ba meron kang, may tinatawag na Cheetos powder, di ba?
Yes.
Pag naubos mo daw yan, orange na daw.
Kailangan
kamay. Ayan.
Hindi mo muna sasabunin. Kailangan linisin mo muna. Simot sarap mo.
Naku, ang sarap niyan. Naku, alam na natin ulit ang midnight snack natin, Nina.
Pag-uwi.
Pero remember, eat healthy pa rin, ha? As much as possible. At tandaan po, ha, narito kami para maghatid ng balita saan mang dako ng mundo. Magandang gabi po. Ako po muli si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Rikki, Alagao, Flores. Ito po ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman po sa iba pang mga balitang nanggaling din sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Mata ng Agila World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina and Rikki. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for Net 25 World News on tonight's headlines. President Trump has temporarily paused the 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian auto imports for 30 days.
So the three companies that he spoke to are Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors. They requested the call, they made the ask, and the president is happy to do it. It's a 1-month exemption.
News out of Washington, the CIA has officially paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine, according to Director John Ratcliffe's announcement. And this comes just days after the U.S. suspended military aid to Kiev.
We have taken a step back and are pausing and reviewing all aspects of this relationship.
And the news starts now. The tariff landscape is shifting dramatically President Trump has temporarily paused the 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian auto imports for 30 days, triggering a stock market rally as investors glimpsed potential relief in the trade conflict. But today's meeting with Prime Minister Trudeau yielded no breakthrough, and Trump's congressional address yesterday reaffirmed his commitment to these controversial trade measures against traditional allies, with indications that additional tariffs are in the pipeline. Take a look.
U.S. President Donald Trump will exempt automakers from his punishing 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico for 1 month, as long as they comply with the terms of an existing free trade agreement. That's according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
The president is giving them an exemption for 1 month so they are not at an economic disadvantage. So the three companies that he spoke to are Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors. They requested the call, they made the ask, and the president is happy to do it. It's a 1 month exemption.
Auto stocks rose on the news. Trump is also open to hearing about other products that should be exempted from the tariffs, which took effect Tuesday, the White House said. The levies pose extreme difficulties for automakers, which produce vehicles in all three countries and often ship parts across North American borders multiple times as they get built up into systems and finished vehicles. Automakers have expressed support for boosting U.S. investment, but want certainty over tariff policies as well as on vehicle emissions rules, two industry sources told Reuters. Trump also might eliminate the 10% tariff on Canadian energy imports, such as crude oil and gasoline, a source familiar with the discussion said. The announcement came after a phone call in which Trump said on Truth Social he told Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that his country is not doing enough to stop fentanyl smuggling.
He said that he was not pleased, as you said. He said it's not good enough. He told Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that directly. The call ended in a somewhat friendly manner, as the president said, but he's not going to stop standing up for the American people.
Talks will continue between the two countries, Trudeau's office said. The tariffs could threaten to derail Canada's fledgling economic recovery and could trigger a recession, as the country relies on the United States for 75% of its exports and a third of all imports. Trade tensions may already be hurting the United States. New data released on Wednesday showed slowing payroll growth, as well as lower wage growth for workers who switch jobs, with uncertainty around Trump's policies a likely factor.
The tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh. And look where Biden took us. Very low, the lowest we've ever been.
News out of Washington, the CIA has officially paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine, according to Director John Ratcliffe's announcement. And this comes just days after the U.S. suspended military aid to Kiev. And analysts are saying this is clearly Trump's way of pressuring President Zelensky to engage in peace talks with Russia.
The United States has paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine, the latest dramatic reversal in what had been vital military cooperation as Washington helped Kyiv battle a brutal Russian invasion. The move stands to significantly hamper Ukraine's ability to defend itself in the midst of the largest conflict in Europe since the Second World War. And it further piles pressure on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to cooperate with U.S. President Donald Trump's demands in convening peace talks with Russia. The decision, announced Wednesday by CIA Director John Ratcliffe, illustrates the Trump administration's willingness to play hardball with an ally, to force it to the negotiating table just days after halting U.S. military aid to Kyiv. U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz.
We have taken a step back and are pausing and reviewing all aspects of this relationship. But I just got off the phone before I walked out here with my counterpart, the Ukrainian National Security Advisor. We are having good talks on a location for the next round of negotiations, on delegations, on substance.
A day before Wednesday's announcement, Ukrainian lawmaker Serhiy Rachmanin expressed his concerns to Reuters about whether Washington would allow other partners to pass on information.
They have the ability to limit the amount of information that our partners can share with us. That is, the problem here is not only and not so much about the restrictions on the information the United States have. The issue is what possible restrictions they may impose on the transfer of information from our partners.
On Monday, Washington halted military aid to Kyiv following a disastrous Oval Office meeting last week, in which Trump and Zelensky engaged in a shouting match before the world's media. The clash delayed the signing of a Ukraine-U.S. minerals deal. But on Tuesday, Trump said he received a letter from Zelensky in which the Ukrainian leader said he was willing to come back to the negotiating table. The White House says it's now reconsidering.
In an address to the nation, French President Emmanuel Macron has signaled a potential shift in France's nuclear defense policy that could reshape European security. Take a look. President Macron has opened the door to extending France's nuclear umbrella to protect other European nations amid growing concerns about Russia's threat to the continent. In his televised address, Macron emphasized France's sovereign nuclear capabilities.
Our nuclear dissuasion protects us. It is complete, sovereign, fully French. Since 1964, it has always explicitly played a role in the preservation of peace and security in Europe. But answering to the historic call of the future German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, I decided to open the strategic debate on the protection through our dissuasion of our allies in the European continent. Whatever happens, the decision has always been and will remain in the hands of the French president.
La décision a toujours été et restera entre les mains du président de la République.
This comes after German Chancellor-designate Friedrich Merz questioned NATO's future and called for discussions with France and Britain about expanding their nuclear protection. Historically, France's nuclear strategy has been strictly defensive, designed to protect only its own vital interests. The policy dates back to the Cold War era, when President Charles de Gaulle established an independent nuclear force. Today, France's nuclear arsenal includes approximately 290 warheads deployed via Rafale fighter jets and nuclear submarines, all under the direct command of the French president. Meanwhile, Russian officials have responded harshly. Senior Russian Senator Konstantin Kosachev condemned Macron's assessment. He said such an erroneous analysis leads to fatal errors. Macron maniacally imposes on his citizens, allies, and the entire world a completely false concept of what is happening. The Russians are coming. Such false conclusions and false suggestions lead to the abyss. Meanwhile, a Russian missile struck a hotel in Kryvyi, Ukraine late Wednesday, killing 4 and injuring 31, with many in critical condition. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky shared a video of the rescue efforts, revealing that a group of international volunteers narrowly escaped harm by seeking shelter just in time. The attack was part of a broader assault involving 2 ballistic missiles and 112 drones. While Ukrainian air defenses intercepted many of the drones, the attack underscored ongoing vulnerabilities amid escalating tensions. 8 people were injured in South Korea after bombs dropped by an Air Force jet landed in a civilian district, damaging houses and a church during military exercises in Pocheon. Now, an official with Gyeonggi-do Bukbu Fire Services said out of the 8 people wounded, 2 were seriously hurt. Pocheon is about 40 kilometers northeast of Seoul, near the heavily militarized border with North Korea. South Korea's Air Force issued an apology for the incident, adding that 8 500-pound Mk-82 bombs from a KF-16 jet fell outside the shooting range during joint live-fire exercises. Residents in the area have protested about the disturbance and potential danger from nearby training grounds for years. The Defense Ministry said earlier on Thursday that South Korea and U.S. forces were holding their first joint live-fire exercises in Pocheon, linked to annual military drills due to start next week. South South Korea and the United States will kick off their annual Freedom Shield exercises on March 10, Monday, according to Seoul's Joint Chiefs of Staff. The joint drills, which will run until March 20, aim to strengthen the readiness of the alliance for threats such as North Korea. Severe, unrelenting rains are turning streets into rivers across Spain, and emergency crews are working round the clock to rescue those stranded by the floodwaters, while communities face dangerous conditions and schools remain closed. Beverly Madrid gives us an update from Spain.
Yes, Alma, the region Castellon has been hit hard by relentless heavy rains. Streets have transformed into rivers, making travel nearly impossible. Emergency services have been working tirelessly, rescuing numerous individuals trapped in their vehicles on flooded roads.
¡Hostia! ¿De quién es el coche ese? ¿Está una mujer? ¡Se va el coche!
Everything is under control. We just met with local police and Guardia Civil. There are 15 roads closed and we have registered incidents in 15 houses. We couldn't get to the other part of the town yet because the river Turin has overflowed.
The Spanish Meteorological Agency AEMET has issued a red alert for Castellon due to the severity of the downpours. In response, local authorities have closed schools to ensure the safety of students and staff. The situation is equally dire in the Canary Islands. In Gran Canaria, particularly in the city of Telde, torrential rains have led to severe flooding. Dramatic footage shows cars being swept away by powerful currents, underscoring the intensity of the situation. Tragically, the extreme weather has claimed lives. In Murcia, a 50-year-old farmer was found deceased after being swept away by flash floods. He was a well-known and beloved figure in the community, leaving behind 2 teenage children. Looking ahead, adverse weather is expected to persist throughout the week. Authorities are urging residents to remain vigilant, follow weather updates, and avoid unnecessary travel to ensure their safety. Reporting from Spain, I'm Beverly Madrid for Net25 World News.
A potentially destructive weather system is hovering off Australia's eastern coast, with officials taking urgent precautions. Cyclone Alfred has stalled off Australia's east coast, creating an anxious waiting game for residents from Queensland to New South Wales.
But we have seen overnight a delay in terms of when the tropical cyclone is due to cross the coast. This does not mean, however, that there is any reduction in terms of the severity of this future event. In fact, now we're already seeing rainfall at significant levels, and people on the north coast are already responding to this, and they are living in it at the moment.
Officials have closed airports, schools, and public transportation systems as communities prepare for what could be significant flooding when the Category 2 storm finally makes landfall. Weather authorities now expect Alfred to hit near Brisbane, Australia's third largest city, by Saturday morning.
We will experience at least one of those key 4 challenges: waves, wind, rainfall, and/or flooding. And it's important that Queenslanders prepare for that. I want to address the cyclone intensity. It remains as a Category 2. And obviously we have seen the delay in the system heading towards the coast. Literally in the last few minutes we've been updated that that could now push into Saturday morning. So if we just unpack where we've been, we overnight saw the system spin around on itself and then it has resumed its journey into the coast.
Storm warnings now extend more than 500 kilometers along the northeast coast. Massive waves generated by the cyclone are already causing beach erosion, and emergency officials are urging residents in flood-prone areas to evacuate before conditions deteriorate further. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has confirmed that defense forces stand ready to support emergency services as the situation develops. A powerful winter storm has left millions in the Midwest and beyond grappling with treacherous travel conditions, widespread power outages, and severe weather warnings. A powerful winter storm hit the Midwest, causing hazardous travel conditions and widespread disruptions. In Iowa, eyewitnesses described near zero visibility, with one stranded driver saying,
"This is where we're at. We can't even tow. I mean, you literally cannot see. It's really bad."
Kansas and Nebraska face blizzard conditions with strong winds and heavy snow. Footage from the next Kansas showed the streetlights shaking in the wind. The National Weather Service issued blizzard warnings across the region, urging residents to avoid travel. The storm closed many schools and a significant stretch of Interstate 80 from Lincoln to Grand Island in Nebraska. Despite some reopenings, many roads remained impassable due to stranded vehicles. Authorities advised caution and urged travelers to check road conditions before venturing out. China is holding firm on its economic growth target of around 5% for 2025, despite mounting U.S. trade tariffs and domestic challenges. Premier Li Qiang announced $179 billion in new stimulus measures to boost the economy, including subsidies for electric vehicles and appliances, as Beijing grapples with weak consumer spending and a struggling property sector. The move comes as trade tensions with the U.S. escalate, putting additional pressure on China's growth strategy.
China's parliament is holding its annual meeting under the shadow of U.S. tariffs. With President Xi Jinping looking on, lawmakers on Wednesday committed extra money to boost the economy. China will now issue some $179 billion in special bonds to lift growth. That includes money to subsidize purchases of electric vehicles, appliances, and other goods. Premier Li Qiang said the country faced increasing external pressures.
Over the past year, amid increasing external pressures and growing internal challenges, China has faced a complex and severe situation. Under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, people of all ethnic groups across the country have forged ahead with determination, overcome difficulties, and ensured overall economic stability with steady progress. The main economic and social development goals for the whole year have been successfully achieved.
Since coming to power in January, US President Donald Trump has added 20% to existing tariffs on Chinese goods.
China's average tariff on our products is twice what we charge them.
And economists bet there could be more to come. China on Tuesday shot back with its own duties on US exports, and the mounting trade war has put pressure on Beijing to take new stimulus measures. China also faces headwinds including weak household spending and a debt-laden property sector. Even so, Li said the country would set the same growth target as last year.
The key expected development targets for this year are economic growth of around 5%, and urban unemployment rate surveyed at around 5.5%, over 12 million new urban jobs, a consumer price increase of around 2%, resident income growth in line with economic growth, and a basically balanced international balance of payments.
Since the pandemic, China has bet on what it calls new productive forces, pouring money into things like advanced manufacturing. But economists have urged Beijing to do more to reduce the country's dependence on exports. On Wednesday, Li said the government would take steps to boost household spending, currently far below the global average. However, he offered no timeline for the measures.
Now, China's newly imposed tariffs on U.S. agricultural products are set to alter global trade dynamics, driving the world's largest agricultural importer to increase its procurement of meat, dairy, and grains from South America, Europe, and Pacific nations. Take a look.
China's new tariffs on U.S. farm goods are poised to reshape global trade flows. The country retaliated swiftly on Tuesday against fresh U.S. duties announcing hikes of 10% and 15% to import levies, covering $21 billion worth of American agricultural goods. Now, China, the world's top agricultural importer, will need to source more meat, dairy and grains from countries in South America, Europe and the Pacific. Analysts and industry experts say shipments to China from key soybean supplier Brazil, top wheat exporter Australia and major pork supplier Europe could surge as a trade war hots up. China is the largest market for US farm exports. It took over $29 billion worth of products in 2024. So any shift in trade flows could create opportunities for rival exporters. That would continue a trend in which China has curbed dependence on US agriculture since the trade war during President Donald Trump's first term. European and South American meat shipments to China are expected to rise as a result. But China's reliance on the US for chicken feet is likely to continue. Experts say alternatives would be difficult to source fully and quickly. About half of US soybean exports go to China. The latest tariff on US soybeans heralds even greater reliance on Brazil and Argentina.
Now, Malaysia is discussing with chip companies based in the country whether they can absorb the impact of potential U.S. tariffs on semiconductors, according to Trade Minister Tengku Zafrul in an interview, as the country looks to hedge against risks to its export-driven economy.
If it happens on our semiconductor industry, definitely will have a negative impact, right? That's why we're discussing with the companies, right? Because it will how we expect the country, or expect the country is that depending on the level of tariff, whether that tariff will be absorbed by the consumers, right? That means the tariff will continue, the export will continue to happen, but someone has to pay for the higher cost. Would it be the consumers or will it be the company that absorb? When we talk to the data center players, the Microsoft, the Googles, the AWS, the rest of them, there is not a concern because the allocation under Tier 2 is adequate, right? And the concern is who will use it, right? There is more on that's why I mentioned about the security, safeguards, etc. on that technology. Not so much. Like I said earlier, there will be no impact that was so far, right, from the growth and the data center that's been committed, because AI will be used by many, right?
U.S. President Donald Trump said in February that he intended to impose tariffs on semiconductors starting at 25% or higher, though it's unclear when this decision could be made.
I'm going to be announcing tariffs on cars and semiconductors and chips and pharmaceuticals, drugs and pharmaceuticals and lumber probably and some other things over the next month or sooner. And it's going to have a big impact on America. We're bringing our businesses back. If they don't make their product in America, then they have to pay a tariff. But if they do make their product in America, they don't have to pay any tariff, which will it's all going to bring trillions of dollars into our treasury, or it's going to mean that there won't be any taxes because we won't have a fair base.
The Southeast Asian nation is home to a large semiconductor industry, including top U.S. multinationals such as Intel and Global Foundries, and is one of the top exporters of chips to the U.S. In a historic and controversial move, the United States has confirmed direct talks with Hamas, marking the first engagement with the group since it was designated a terrorist organization in 1997. The discussions led by U.S. hostage envoy Adam Boehler in Doha aim to secure the release of American hostages held in Gaza and explore a broader agreement to end the ongoing war, while President Trump has issued stern warnings to Hamas, threatening severe consequences if hostages are not freed. Take a look.
Washington confirmed on Wednesday it had held direct talks with militant group Hamas to free U.S. hostages held in Gaza, while U.S. President Donald Trump said again the group would have hell to pay if it didn't comply. Talking to Hamas breaks a long-standing taboo against negotiating with groups the U.S. sees as terrorist organizations. Hamas was declared a terrorist group in 1997. Sources told Reuters U.S. hostage affairs envoy Adam Boehler recently met with Hamas officials in Doha. When asked about the talks, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Bola has the authority to speak directly with Hamas.
Israel was consulted on this matter. And look, dialogue and talking to people around the world to do what's in the best interest of the American people is something that the president has proven is what he believes is good faith effort to do what's right for the American people.
Meanwhile, Trump issued a stark new threat against Hamas on social media. He demanded the group release all of the hostages now, not later, including the remains of dead hostages, or he would send Israel, quote, everything it needs to finish the job. Before he took office, Trump made similar threats, but again did not specify the exact action he might take if Hamas didn't comply. The US had long avoided direct engagement with the Islamist group, which raided southern Israel on October 7, 2023, sparking the devastating war in Gaza. A source said the recent discussions aim to try and secure the release of Eden Alexander, a New Jerseyite believed to be the last living American hostage held by Hamas. He appeared in a video published by Hamas in November last year. 4 other US hostages have been declared dead by Israeli authorities.
And the news continues here on Net 25. We'll be right back. In Barcelona, tech giants and innovators are gathering for what many call the Olympics of mobile technology. The Mobile World Congress kicked off this week with AI taking center stage alongside growing debates about ethics and regulation in the rapidly evolving digital landscape. Lovely Apple Joyce Fabros reports from Barcelona, Spain.
The Mobile World Congress, the world's premier event for mobile technology, is underway in Barcelona, promising a showcase of cutting-edge innovations and big industry announcements. Running from March 3 to 6, the event is buzzing with excitement around artificial intelligence, 5G advancements, and their growing role in daily life. But it's not just about technology. Ethical and legislative concerns are also taking center stage.
I think that AI is a complex topic with lots of threads to it, but certainly this will be the place, MWC, where all of those threads come together, where we will be talking about the very technical through to the ethical implications, through to the how do we handle data implications.
Protests also marked the opening day as demonstrators carrying Palestinian flags called for a ban on Israeli companies at the event. Meanwhile, King Felipe VI of Spain officially inaugurated the conference alongside Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and other dignitaries. The King toured pavilions showcasing the latest technology innovations, even testing a Formula One simulator. Huawei made waves with its latest innovation, unveiling the Mate XT Ultimate, the world's first commercially available trifold smartphone.
So we have the Mate XT Ultimate design, which was originally launched in China in September of last year. And we actually had a global launch for this in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, just last month. This is basically the first trifold smartphone that you can buy commercially. But what we have is we have an extra fold that kind of goes like so, right? So outward folding phone that only used the hinge like this. And only later did we launch a phone with a hinge like we fold 2 ways, inward and outward. Our first foldable phone, aspects of folding into a single device, making this, well, essentially.
One highlight comes from Chinese company Honor, which unveiled its AI-powered deepfake detection technology.
Our deepfake detector can effectively inspect tiny details of pixels on your screen, so it can detect those deepfakes. It can identify the deepfakes and to tell our customers within 6 seconds.
Will be showed on the capsule right here, and we press the start detection button. Let's see what's going to happen.
Another major reveal came from Xiaomi, which launched its flagship Xiaomi 15 Ultra smartphone.
With this phone, we want to reach the top end of technology.
AI continues to dominate discussions at Mobile World Congress. Renowned AI expert Jürgen Schmidt-Huber predicted a future where artificial intelligence becomes accessible to all.
AI is truly going to be for all. It's not a few big companies that are going to dominate everything. No, even today it's not clear whether they are going to be very profitable by, selling AI services. No, the great profiteur of AI is going to be the little man, and AI will be 1,000,000 times better for the same price 30 years from now, and everybody is going to profit greatly from that.
As Mobile World Congress unfolds, it is clear that discussions here will shape the future of technology and how it integrates into our lives. Reporting from Barcelona, Spain, this is Lovely Apochois Fabros for Net25 World News. Back to you, Alma.
And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on Net25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow. Good night.